Hi, Ballard families. My name is Kelsey Peronto. I'm a Seattle Promise Outreach Specialist, and I work specifically with Ballard students to help them participate in the Seattle Promise program. Um, you'll notice that I'm being recorded right now, or this is a recording of my presentation. The reason for that is that during our rehearsal, our tech wasn't working, and we wanted to make sure that you could get all of the information about Promise. So I shared this recorded presentation, but I'm also a participant in this Teams call, and I am available to answer any questions that you might have at the end of the presentation. Seattle Promise is a program that I've had the pleasure of working for the past 2+ years. I got to work with Ballard students and families last year for the first time when the levy opened up the opportunities for students that we were able to work with. And now almost 200 students from Ballard High School are participating in the Seattle Promise program as college students at Seattle colleges. Seattle Promise is a college scholarship and success program. So we provide up to 2 years or 90 credits of tuition for students to attend Seattle colleges. And those students are Seattle Public Schools graduates. So any Seattle Public High School graduate can attend any Seattle college tuition free. All high school graduates from Seattle Public Schools are eligible. So that means regardless of GPA, income, country of birth, citizenship status, we support all students in attending Seattle colleges through the Seattle Promise program. My job is to help support students through this process and to help them meet the team of people who will support them through the whole college attending process. You'll notice on this kind of web of support that we have, tuition support is one of the things that we offer. We also offer support with college readiness, so application assistance from myself and my colleagues, events that are focused on college readiness and placement, the transition to college. We have connections to academic support to make sure students feel like, especially now with remote learning, to make sure students feel like they have the best access to support that works for them, career and internship assistance. And then we help all of the students complete the FAFSA or the WASPA financial aid application to make sure that they meet or they qualify for the maximum amount of aid they could qualify for. Seattle Promise students also have a designated advisor that just works with Seattle Promise students. So the goal is that through this process, students get to know their advisor and feel like they have a team of people supporting them through the process. That support starts with myself and my fellow outreach colleagues that you'll see here. So Seattle Promise Scholars have a support team that helps them through the whole college career, starting with your outreach specialist. Here's my smiling face, all of my colleagues. So we all work with different high schools in the Seattle area. We're assigned specifically to high schools to make sure that we can ideally build a relationship with students and their parents and understand about their goals as they're planning to go to college. So our role is to help them apply for Promise, help them apply for college admissions, file and complete their financial aid, complete placement, register for college classes at Readiness Academy, which is the first event they participate in, and attend our summer bridge orientation that will help them transition from high school to college. Really, one of our biggest roles is just helping them make sure they know all of the program requirements, if they've met them, and where they are in the process. The next layer of support that we offer in this program is our financial aid team. So we're really excited to have 3 financial aid specialists, one at each college, who can help the students with the process of not just filing for the FAFSA or the WASPA, but finishing their financial aid file. This is always the thing that I say, like, if you hear nothing else from this presentation, this is the most important. Filling out the FAFSA or the WASPA for financial aid is just step 1. And a lot of students don't finish the financial aid file process. These 3 folks can help you get through that process. So Ramey Yuen works at North Seattle College, Garrett Remsen works at Seattle Central College, and Kinder Cutler works at South Seattle College. And the 3 of them are specifically available for Seattle Promise students to make sure they complete the financial aid process. And then we have a large and growing team of retention specialists. So I mentioned that this is a college success program. What that means is that students have support from the time they apply, so support with applying for the program and through the 2 years that they're attending college. We want more students to access college and to feel ready for it, but we also want more students to complete their 2-year degrees and to complete a transfer and feel ready for the workforce and feel like they have support in achieving their goals. So these individuals you see on the screen work at North Seattle College, Seattle Central College, and South Seattle College, supporting students through the process and helping them with things like career exploration, transfer planning, choosing their courses, and creating educational plans. As I mentioned before, Seattle Promise Scholarship can be used at North Seattle College, Seattle Central College, or South Seattle College. And students can choose their pathway through those colleges. So we offer transfer degrees, which a lot of students are pursuing if they're interested in a four-year university after attending the Seattle colleges. We also have a lot of professional technical degrees that help students get into the workforce quickly in high paying and like high demand jobs that would be helpful. So we have some culinary programs, a lot of IT programs, huge variety of different programs that are offered that can either be focused on students who know they want to go to a four-year university, who know that they don't want to go to a four-year university, or who are not sure. Seattle colleges offer more than 130 programs in 8 areas of study. These areas of study are pathways, and so we're really focused on the subject matter and helping students have advisors that know what their goals are, which programs they're interested in, really focused around them, and so they can get the answers they need about their individual program. So you can see we have art, design, graphics, business and accounting, robust STEM programs, social sciences, education and human services, and then skilled trades as well. So all of these are options that students can pursue at Seattle colleges. My biggest recommendation for students who are undecided, which I was one when I went to college, is really just exploring programs as much as possible. Any opportunity you have to connect, any kind of drop-in session online now, anything that'll help students visualize themselves in that program, in that field, and see if that works for them. So North Seattle College, we asked our counterparts in outreach just some other like really exciting programs or the most popular programs at each of the schools. Even though we're a Seattle College's district, each school has its kind of own individual culture and flavor. And so North Seattle College has a lot of focus on our accounting and business programs. We have an amazing early childhood education program that a lot of students I've worked with really enjoyed participating in. We're one of the few schools in the area with an EMT program for students to participate in, which is really rigorous and highly competitive. The electronics program, engineering, we offer medical assisting and nursing. We have a pharmacy technician program, which is really hands-on, and phlebotomy and then a real estate degree are some that are offered at North. Central also has some business focus in computer science. They have some really cool professional technical programs like carpentry and culinary arts. The maritime and marine technology program is also really popular for students who know that they're interested in a career on a boat. Nursing, psychology, engineering, professional arts. And there's a social and human services focus at Seattle Central that I know a lot of the students I worked with were really excited for that kind of like social justice bent. So there are a lot of awesome opportunities at Central too. And then popular programs at South include a ton of really awesome professional technical programs. So a lot of students I've worked with are interested in automotive technology or some kind of like working with their hands, aviation maintenance. But Seattle or South Seattle College also, in addition to the prof tech programs, offers transfer degrees and has some like environmental science focus, public health. They're one of the few schools that I know of that has a welding program. Really, if students are not sure both what they're interested in studying and which college they want to go to, there's a lot of different options to explore. On campus or remotely on campus too, there are a lot of resources to support students. I'll talk about some of these specifically, but I really encourage students who are new to college to explore student life. Ballard actually has like a really awesome array of clubs and activities, and that's available at the college too. That can be even more important remotely now when students are looking for ways to connect with each other. We offer tutoring services, academic advising for all of our students so they can make sure that the credits they're taking for their classes match their degree and it's worth their time. We have counseling services on campus, disability services, library and e-learning, which have been an absolute lifesaver in the pandemic to make sure that we have remote access for all of our students, that the technology is working appropriately, that the adults teaching the classes know how to use the technology as well as the students do. We also have equity and diversity centers on all of our campuses, which is really important because we want to encourage a diverse population of students to attend our schools and to create a place where they feel welcome and where they feel like it is their school and they belong. Career services and veteran services are available. Really, the guide that I've always heard about clubs is if there's a club that students are interested in and they don't feel like it exists, they can create it. And there's a lot of people who are really eager to support students in that endeavor. One support I want to talk about in particular is disability support services. So students in high school who have a 504 plan or an IEP may qualify for additional support at the college level. The difference for qualifying for that support is that they really need to ask for it. And so a lot of students might miss out on the support that they deserve because they didn't know that they needed to schedule a meeting before the beginning of the quarter. We're really trying to emphasize this because everybody deserves to feel as successful as possible in college and have all of their accommodations met that they need to be successful. So students who have a 504 or an IEP plan should reach out to disability services for an appointment to see what kind of accommodations they may qualify for. Sometimes that can include things like testing accommodations, note takers or scribes. They might qualify for some additional tutoring, sign language interpreters, alternative formats. There's a lot of different things that, again, students are entitled to learn in the way that they learn best, and we want to make sure they have access to that through their accommodations. So we're going straight into how to apply for Seattle Promise. So our application is live right now. Several Ballard students have already applied, which is super exciting. Students who participate in Seattle Promise have to complete the required program milestones. So I've mentioned these kind of like casually before, but just so you have it laid out in front of you in a picture, students need to apply for Seattle Promise, which is due February 1st. They need to apply for admissions to Seattle colleges. If they apply for admissions to Seattle colleges, they will get in. It's an open access institution, so it's not the same as like applying for a UW or something with a lot of pressure. This is an application that they will get if they follow all these milestones. I think that's especially helpful for students right now to know they have a flexible option when it's kind of uncertain what college might look like in terms of in-person classes or not. I know a lot of the students I worked with at Ballard this year, maybe Seattle Promise wasn't even their first choice, but they stayed eligible by meeting all of these deadlines. And then they realized, yeah, I do think I want to take these classes online close to home. I do think I want to stay here. So because they met all these deadlines, they were able to stay with the program, which has been really helpful. Students apply for Promise, they apply for admissions. We help students apply for the FAFSA or WASPA, again, because you never know how much financial aid you qualify for if you do not apply for one. A lot of students might think that they won't qualify for any, but you have no way of knowing what your expected family contribution would be if you don't complete that application. We also work with students to complete their financial aid file at the college. So any additional items that the financial aid office requests, our financial aid specialists can help students understand what that means, because sometimes it's kind of like technical or tax related, and make sure they get it turned in time. Students also participate in 2 events, and really these are centered around college readiness. So Readiness Academy is the first event that helps with placement testing, registration for classes, kind of college 101 of just what to expect in going to college. And then Summer Bridge happens in September, right before the students start their classes. So it's really an intensive orientation to get back from the kind of summer melt stage to, hey, it's time to go back to school, and here are some of the resources that exist for you. Summer Bridge has a lot of participation from instructors and campus services and is really hands-on for students to help them get a feel for, you're in college now, this is your school. Students who participate in Seattle Promise will begin classes as a full-time college student, enrolling in fall of 2022 for your students. No, excuse me, 2021. It's really hard to get the years right when time is really silly right now, but fall of 2021 for Seattle Promise students. So a lot of people ask if their student can take a gap year or if they can enroll part-time. Right now, the answer to both of those questions is not built into the program, but what we're seeing, we have an appeals process for students who, if they have some kind of special circumstance or something that's arising that they need to advocate for themselves, they can fill out that appeal and advocate for themselves for what they need. So typically what we see in terms of like the greatest terms of college success and completion of a 2-year degree is students who start the fall after they graduate and enroll full time. So that's going to be our plan A no matter what for students. So breaking those pieces down, you can see on our website right now, the Seattle Promise application is live. It is incredibly simple to fill out. It's mainly a communication tool for us to get connected to students, and so they can fill it out in about 5 minutes. If they're doing that, I would recommend they do the Seattle Colleges application at the exact same time. Step 1 is done if they've done those things. The Seattle Colleges application is a little bit of an older platform right now. We're actually in the process of updating it this year. So it's not harder, but it does take a little bit longer and can be a little bit clunkier. I would save about 10 minutes for that one. Both of these things are things that I'm available for, both on like an appointment basis or a regular office hours basis that I can share with you all to make sure that you have access to help with it. So if you start one of these and have a question, I'm always available for support getting through the process. The next application, which I'm definitely available for support for, is the FAFSA-WASPA. You're all here tonight because you're interested in applying for financial aid and understanding the process. One piece of advice up front, so students complete either the FAFSA or the WASPA, depending on their citizenship and residency status. Students who want to do Seattle Promise when they're selecting schools for their FAFSA or WASPA need to include at least one of the Seattle colleges. So if they want to participate in Seattle Promise but don't list North Seattle College, we won't have access to their FAFSA and we won't be able to help them finish the process. This is also something that I can and will help with. In May and June is when we'll host our events, or excuse me, May is when we'll host our events for Readiness Academy. June 11th is when the financial aid files need to be completed. You'll hear this over and over again, but the earlier the better with financial aid. When you submit the FAFSA, that's just step 1. Requests may start coming in, like, depending on the school, but maybe in January for other documentation you may need. It's easy to get behind on that process, and the earlier the better to qualify for the most aid. Summer Bridge will be September 14th and 15th this year. Again, it's a 2-day orientation to set students up for success in college. And then students will be a Seattle Colleges student starting their classes at Seattle Colleges. This is what we have referred colloquially on our team as the pizza tracker, named after the Domino's pizza tracker. But really this is how students are tracking their progress through the milestones. We'll be in communication with students every step of the way to make sure they know, like, all right, green means good. I did my Seattle Promise application. All right, I haven't done my Seattle Colleges application yet, and how they can move through that process so they can be a Seattle Promise scholar. We want students to be able to complete the application process and to have the support in college that they need to succeed. Mayor Jenny Durkin was one of our huge proponents who sponsored this legislation that allowed us to be able to have it. So she will personally congratulate your student for being a Seattle Promise scholar. So that's the conclusion of my presentation. I want to call attention to the URL at the middle of the screen. seattlecolleges.edu/promise is a wealth of information, including our application and including my contact page. So my email address, my phone number, a link to sign up an appointment with me, all of those are available on our website. And we're working remotely right now, but we are supporting students through the whole process through drop-in workshops, through appointments one-on-one over Zoom, through phone calls, email, any way that we can reach students and parents to help them through this process. So if you go to our website, that's the first best place to start to get this information, including my contact information. Again, my name is Kelsey Peronto. I'm here in this meeting. I work with your Ballard students. I'm so excited to meet you and that you're interested in Promise.